Hi, I'm Anna at the Sewing Studio and I am excited to be able to introduce you to the Bernette B68 combination overlock and cover stitch machine. In this video, I'm going to talk you through its features, show you what comes in the box, show you how to thread the machine and go through some basic stitches and then how to switch it from overlock to cover stitch, and then we'll talk a bit about the warranty. So we've separated that all out into chapters, so if there's a specific section that you want to see, feel free to just jump to that section. Bernette have designed this machine to be as easy to thread as possible by using a colour-coded system and air thread technology for the loopers. It honestly couldn't be more simple, and I will demonstrate that to you when we get to the threading section. Now it comes with 31 different stitch options between your overlocking, your cover stitch and chain stitch, and these are all detailed in this handy reference chart, and this tells you how to set up the machine for each individual stitch. Now this machine also has micro thread control technology, which is a bit like fine-tuning your radio, so if you're after precise stitches, you really can achieve it with this machine. It's a nice sized machine. It's got 5 inches of space to the right of the needle, which is super handy, and it also has a free arm. You just pop that off, so handy for doing cuffs and trouser legs. And it also comes with an extension table that just pops on the side there, so it gives you a nice large working area. The machine has onboard storage for the most handiest of tools that you're going to need. So some tweezers, a lint brush, your screwdriver to change your needles, some spare needles and a needle threader and inserter. It also comes with a couple of extra tables for when you're cover stitching, which again I'll show you those when we get into the sewing section. Your trap bin for your cut-offs when overlocking, your knee lift, the foot control and power lead, a quick start guide and a range of accessories with a storage box. Let's start with overlocking, which is how the machine will be set up when you first take it out of the box. Now everything is colour coded in the thread guides and down in here as well. For overlocking you want to ignore the purple, that's for when we come on to cover stitch. So we start with the red, which is the lower looper, and what you want to do first of all is lock these loopers into position for the air threading mechanism. So you do that by sliding this to the left and then turn the hand wheel until you hear them lock, like that. And then everything's connected so that the thread can go right the way through. So we'll grab the red thread, pop it under the guide down. Now in here is a handy pair of tweezers. You want to just go around the guide in there. Now give yourself a few inches of thread and then you're just going to post the end of the thread down in to the hole. Oops. Until it kind of doesn't want any more. Oops. There you go, so you can see it sort of doubling up on itself, so that's enough. And then just leave that dangling, press the button, and there it is, out the end of the looper. And you just want to pop that under the upper looper and towards the back. That's that one done. So now for the upper looper, grab the end of your thread, exactly the same as the top here. Down in behind the guide, and then again give yourself a few inches of thread and be posting that into the hole. Until, there you go, it's kind of doubling up on itself. Press the button and there's your thread there, and just post that out the back. So that's the loopers done. Don't forget to unlock them, otherwise they won't move when you start to stitch. Now with the needles, the way that the thread guides work, you want to start threading from left to right. So we'll start with the yellow and just pop it in the guide, in under there. And then it tells you on here the order to do it. So you've got yellow, green and blue. So the yellow one is right in the back. And then the same here, the yellow is on the left, and then you just follow suit in the last guide down here. Then through the eye of the needle, and that's that one done. And then the right needle, the green, under that guide, exactly the same channel, except we're going in the middle guide. Round, in that one, and then through the eye of the needle. So that's that, and then you want to pop all those threads underneath the foot, and you're ready to go. Pop the tweezers back in there actually, so I don't lose them. Now it comes with this really handy chart that tells you how to set everything up for each individual stitch. So this is for all your overlocking. So we're going to do a standard 4 thread, and this is basically your needles here. So it's telling you that you need all 4 needles, and then this is the tension numbers to have them on. So number 4. So we've got 4, 4, 4, 4, and the purple one we don't need. The cutting width, which is the width of your cutting blade here, you can set that to whatever you want, but the standard one is 6, which is what it's on already. You adjust that just by turning this dial. The stitch chain finger is on normal, which is in there. Your stitch length needs to be on 2.5, and then your differential feed needs to be on 1. So that's basically a guide to show you how to set everything up. Now what I usually do once I've threaded, I'll drop the presser foot, is I usually just turn the hand wheel by hand and just make sure that everything is moving smoothly, it's looping, nothing's getting caught before I put my foot down and have a major jam up. Then I will just put my foot down to make sure it's looping, and I can see that's looping nicely. So I've got a piece of, or 2 pieces of cotton here. Oh, hang on, I forgot. If you want to, there is the trap bin that you can just pop on to catch all your ends. And there's a handy thread cutter on the side there. So as you can see, the quality of the stitch on this is just superb. So that's your top with your upper looper in your seam, and then you've got your lower looper underneath, and it gives a really, really nice strong seam. So that's on cotton. Let's have a look on some jersey, which I have here. And look how lovely that sits on that piece of jersey. It's nice and flat. The loops are slightly hanging over, so you just want to adjust your tension accordingly for this type of fabric, which if they're too loose like that, that's the upper looper, that's the upper side. So we can just pop that down to 3 and see what difference that makes. Just lift that up slightly. Hang on, that's caught there. There we go. And you can see that that stitch is much neater along the end. And again, the seam is nice and robust, and the fabric can stretch with the stitch. So on denim fabric, just do the same again. Might pop that back up to 4 because this fabric's a bit more stable. Pop it under there. And again, look at the quality of that stitch. It is just beautiful on there. And again, nice and robust seam. That's not going anywhere. And then lastly, on the overlock, let's have a look at some fleece, because I know a lot of you like to sew with some fleece. So, because it's quite bulky, we'll pop that under. That went through that like butter, and how neat and lovely is that, and it's lying nice and flat. What more could you want? So let's move on to a rolled hem. So we'll take the tray off first again. Now I'll show you how this works. So on this chart, it's showing you here is a 3-thread rolled hem, which is what we'll do. So first off, it's telling us that we don't need the left needle in. So we'll cut the yellow thread, which is the left needle, pop the foot up, and then if we pull these, I can then, actually let's snip them off. And then let's grab the yellow, where are you? There you go. And in here, there is a really handy little gadget to hold on to the needle, which is much easier than trying to do it with your fingers and then it dropping down in here. And this is a tool, whoops, to undo the screw for the needle. I really should put my glasses on. So undo the screw, take the needle out, and then I usually do the screws back up again. They don't need to come all the way out, they're quite tiny, so they're a bit of a nightmare if you take them out and it drops down in to find them again. So you don't need those anymore, so they can go away. Okay, so then referring to our chart, we need to change the tension on the right needle to 4.5. On the upper looper, the blue, it needs to be on 5, and then the lower looper is on 7. Now, you're not cutting when you do a rolled hem, so you can disengage the blade, and you also don't need the chain finger because it's not looping, it's pulling it to roll it. So you want to change that from normal to rolled. And your stitch length needs to be on 1.5, so just move that down, and the differential can stay on 1. So pop the cover back up. And then you just want to be lining the fabric up with the edge of the table there. So drop the presser foot down. And as you can see, it's a nice, neat rolled hem on there. So let's switch the machine over to cover stitch mode. So I'm going to cut all the threads off, and this time we're going to be using the purple one. Now, I just like to shift that one over and rethread at the top so that it comes off on the right angle. And then we need to switch the needles over. Now I find this easier with the presser foot down for a minute to swap the needles over. So grab your little gadgets again and then hold on to that one. Unscrew, take it out, come on. Doesn't want to, there we go. And then do that one up. And then for a standard 4-thread cover hem, which is what we're going to do, cover hem, cover stitch, you want all 3 needles. So we'll just undo that one, pop that one in, up as far as it will go, and screw that down. Next one, pop that in, unscrew. Whoops, that's turned around. Up in there, screw it nice and tight, and then the last one, pop down, unscrew that all the way in, and screw it up nice and tight. So that's those done. I'll pop these bits back. Wrong way around. Next, we're going to get the machine threaded, and the first part of that is to deal with the loopers. So when you're doing a cover stitch, you only need this front looper here. This back looper will get in the way, so we need to disengage it. And you do that by turning the hand wheel until it's in its lowest position, about there, and then you just push down and move that over, and then you'll see that no longer moves. Next, we want to lock these for the air thread, just like we did with threading for overlock. So scoot that over, turn the hand wheel, and they're in the lock position. So I'll pop the presser foot up, pop the thread in the guide, down through the tension discs, get the trusty tweezers in around that guide. Now the same with when we were threading for overlocking, you want to give yourself a few inches of slack and then post the thread down in the hole as far as you can, about there. Let go, press the button, and then there's the looper threaded. Now you want to cut that to just a couple of inches and just leave that hanging. Once you start sewing, it'll automatically pick that up. Again, with the needles, you want to start from the left to the right. So we'll grab the yellow, pop that in under that one, in the guide, around, in that one, and then through the eye of the needle. There we go. Now I'm going to do a 4-thread cover stitch that uses the centre needle as well, which is now the green. You can do a 3-thread, and that can be narrow, either by taking out the left needle and then you've just got the centre and the right for a narrow one, or you can do a 3-thread wide by taking out the centre needle. So you leave in the left, and the right, and through the eye of the needle. And lastly, the right needle in there, and then along the same thread path, in the guide, in there, and again, lastly through the eye. Okay, so that's those threaded. Oops. And then I just like to cut off any excess that I've got on the cutter there. Pop those back. Next, we need to change this little table over, because this is all the measurements for overlocking and we want the measurements for cover stitching. So you just push that in and that pops off. There's 2 different types of cover. This one you would use if you had the extension table on, and this one when the extension table isn't on, which is the one I'm going to use. Whoops. And that just pops back on. So I'll close this. Now you can see I can't close that. I've done that on purpose because that's a safety mechanism to remind you that you've not released the loopers. So at the moment they're locked. So you need to just pop the switch back to the right, and then you can move those freely and the table will close. So it's quite a nice handy feature to help you remember. So I'm going to use my stitch guide just to remind me where the tensions need to be. So the left needle needs to be on 3, the green on 6, the blue on 6, and the looper can stay on 4. We don't need the cutting knife. The chain finger needs to be in the rolled hem position, stitch length on 3, and the differential can stay on 1. So I've got a bit of t-shirt material here, nice and stretchy, and we're just going to sew the bottom hem. Now you don't need to worry about these leaving loose. They'll leave a trail once we start sewing, but they'll sort themselves out. I'll show you what I mean. Now when you come to finish, the threads are around the looper, so you need to release them so that you can take the work out. So you do that by turning the hand wheel until the needles are in the lowest position, that's turning the hand wheel towards you, and then turn the hand wheel away from you until they're in the highest position. And then you should be able to just pull the work out. Drop that off. And you can see at the front there, you can just pull those out and that sorts itself out. And there's your nice, neat cover hem. And again, that's super stretchy with the material and it's nice and secure. So I hope I've been able to demonstrate to you just how easy the Bernette B68 Airlock machine is to use. I've used quite a lot of combination machines in my time, and I have to say I really do find this machine one of the easiest to operate, and the stitch quality is just superb. It comes with a 2-year warranty, and in the box is a card there that you just fill out and send off. And don't forget, we're here at the Sewing Studio for any support or advice that you might need. So pick up the phone, pop on live chat or email us. We're all waiting to hear from you. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.